Worldwide, specific agricultural systems and landscapes have been created, shaped and maintained by generations of farmers and herders based on diverse natural resources, using locally adapted management practices. Building on local knowledge and experience, these ingenious agricultural systems reflect the evolution of humankind, the diversity of its knowledge, and its profound relationship with nature. These systems have resulted not only in outstanding landscapes, maintenance and adaptation of globally significant agricultural biodiversity, indigenous knowledge systems and resilient ecosystems, but, above all, in the sustained provision of multiple goods and services, food and livelihood security and quality of life. Agriculture has changed dramatically, especially during the later half of the 20th century. Food and fiber productivity soared due to new technologies, mechanization, increased chemical use, specialization and government policies that favored maximizing production. Although these changes have had many positive effects and reduced many risks in farming, there have also been significant costs. Prominent among these are topsoil depletion, groundwater contamination, the decline of family farms, continued neglect of the living and working conditions for farm laborers, increasing costs of production, and the disintegration of economic and social conditions in rural communities. The world's population is poised to reach 9 billion by the middle of this century, and over the next 40 years, 70% more food will be needed to sustain all these people. Most of this additional food will have to be produced where it is needed, namely in developing countries. These countries will have to double their production to achieve this goal, with implications also for the natural resources that farming depends on, and especially water, land for cultivation and mineral fertilizers. All of these are available in only limited amounts. In many places, the soil has already suffered long-term damage, and water resources are often overused or polluted by fertilizers and pesticides. Agricultural biodiversity has decreased as farming has become industrialized. These negative effects have heightened global awareness of the fact that agriculture does more than simply produce food, animal feed and energy. It also impacts on the climate and the health of global ecosystems. Farming is one of the sectors hit hardest by climate change. If the atmosphere continues to warm as projections currently suggest, harvests in many regions of the world, above all in developing countries, will dwindle and food supply shortages will become more prevalent. But farming is not only a victim of climate change, it is also a contributor to it. Almost 1/3 of global greenhouse emissions are directly or indirectly linked to agriculture. More than half result from changes in land usage, for instance the conversion each year of 13 million hectares of forest into land that is often not used sustainably. In addition to carbon dioxide, farming mainly releases methane and nitrous oxide. The primary sources are fertilizers, improper soil management, the burning of crop residues, wet rice cultivation and livestock farming, notably cattle. For example, agriculture accounts for 60% of the world's methane and nitrous oxide emissions. Methane is 25 times more harmful to the climate than carbon dioxide. Nitrous oxide is 300 times more harmful. Globally, farming draws on an average of around 70% of the withdrawn renewable water resources. Some 219 million of the world's 287 million hectares of irrigated land is found in developing countries. More than 30 countries are already facing a growing water shortage. 2 to 3 kilos of feed are needed to produce each kilo of chicken, and 10 kilos of feed for each kilo of beef.
Definition of sustainable agriculture. According to United States Department of Agriculture, sustainable agriculture means an integrated system of plant and animal production practices having a site-specific application that over the long term will satisfy human food and fiber needs, enhance environmental quality and the natural resource base upon which the agricultural economy depends, make the most efficient use of non-renewable resources and on-farm resources and integrate, where appropriate, natural biological cycles and controls. Sustain the economic viability of farm operations. Enhance the quality of life for farmers and society as a whole.